I'm Abby. I'm explaining homeostasis of body temperature and blood glucose by Abby Hildebrand. Still trying to figure this thing out. Come on. Okay. Homeostasis is remaining a relatively steady and stable environment inside the internal body. So basically going like up and above what stable is, but trying to stay stable as possible. There is positive and negative feedback loops. So when I think of positive feedback loop, I think usually like, oh, that's positive, that's great. But in medical terms, it usually doesn't mean that it is always positive. It means that it's probably exceeding limits. So when you have a baby and you're pregnant, your cervix is going to expand to beyond its limits medically to make sure that baby can get out without easier for you. And that's a positive feedback loop. A negative feedback loop is increase and decrease in temperature control. So you're always trying to maintain a steady temperature, but your temperature is always going to go up and down and try and stay in that area of stabilization. And there's also alterations, and that can be an issue in a feedback loop, which we'll talk about later, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Body temperature homeostasis is the circulatory system. It is a negative feedback loop. And I am mentioning this now. There's receptors, control centers, and an effector in homeostasis. So with skin and temperature control, the receptor is the temperature receptors in the skin, and then that would go and travel to the homothalamus of the brain, which is the control center, and then that would go to the epidermal capillaries and sweat glands to secrete sweat to calm the body down or cool the body down. I don't know why I said calm. There is 4 different ways of heat loss. There's conduction, which is transfer of something cold, or transfer something cold by touching the body. There is convection, which is cool air surrounding the body, so like going on it. There's radiation, which is regular process of like the body just letting go heat. And then there is evaporation, which is like sweat, like I was just talking before, evaporating off of the body. So, blood glucose. This is a normal person taking in blood glucose, and the beta and alpha cells recognizing it. And there's, if the blood sugar is blood glucose is too low, then the pancreas will secrete glucagon, will bring it back up, and then insulin, if it's too high, it will bring it back down. That is normal. Why isn't this working? Technical difficulties. Okay. This is type 1 diabetes, so they don't have working beta cells, so they don't secrete insulin, so they don't make insulin, so they just don't work. So that means that the blood glucose would just keep going up and up and up, and so that is a huge problem for type 1 diabetics because high blood sugar can go to many, many different problems. Here are some symptoms of type 1 diabetes. There's blurred vision, being very thirsty, sweat, smelling breath, feeling tired and sleepy, and a whole bunch of other ones you can read. What is causing type 1 diabetes? We're not exactly sure, but we do know that it can have genetic properties, and it can also come from an autoimmune disease, so like it can be triggered by that. And type 2 diabetes is, okay, I'm doing so good. Type 2 diabetes is too much glucose throughout your life, so it's like loading up with glucose, like too much, and you don't exercise, or you have a poor diet, or you're just not doing well, so the the cells stop recognizing the insulin, and as a result, they stop taking it in. So they're just like, no, I don't recognize you anymore. And I put like, seen that before? No, never seen that. So they're not recognizing it. It's just not what happens when you have type 2. And yeah. Oh, I want to mention one more thing. People that have type 2 diabetes will also have insulin injections, lunch, dinner, and breakfast to help recognize the insulin or put more into the body so that they can live out their normal and healthy lives. And that's the same with type 1 as well. Thank you. I know that I messed up on this, but this is my 50th try, and this is the best I can do. Okay. Thank you for your time. Signing off.